He didn't know he had kids. Then he met 4 identical teenagers. What happens next will shock you. Click like if you believe in unexpected twists. Subscribe to the channel and tell me, what would you do if you discovered you had 4 teenage kids you never knew existed? Let's dive into this wild ride. The airport revelation. No, it can't be. Mauricio Andrade froze in the middle of Santiago International Airport, his mouth agape, eyes glued to the scene before him. "Elena," he whispered, watching his ex-girlfriend from university walk by with 4 teenagers. 4 identical boys, 4 youthful versions of himself. The boys, about 14 years old, wore gray hoodies and the same messy blonde hair he used to have at their age. Elena, as elegant as ever in her denim jacket and scarf, stopped dead in her tracks when she saw him. "Mauricio," she said, her voice barely audible in the airport's bustle. "They are." Mauricio couldn't finish the question. His legs moved automatically towards the group. "Dad." The boys tensed visibly. "Why did you never tell me?" Mauricio's voice trembled. 15 years, Elena. 15 years. "It wasn't that simple," Elena replied, placing a protective hand on the shoulder of the nearest boy. "And that gave you the right to hide from me that I had children?" The 4 teenagers exchanged uncomfortable glances. People started to stop and stare at the scene. "Not here," Elena said firmly. "There's a coffee shop on the 2nd floor. We can talk there." "Talk? After hiding this from me for 15 years, you just want to talk?" "Mom told us about you," another boy interrupted. "We know who you are. We've seen you on the news." Mauricio ran a hand through his hair, a gesture the 4 teenagers unconsciously mimicked simultaneously. "The coffee shop," Elena insisted. "Please, Mauricio. I'll explain everything. Everything. Like I have 4 children I didn't know who are quadruplets," one of the boys completed. "I'm Mateo. These are Lucas, Daniel, and Joaquin." Mauricio felt breathless. His eyes darted from one face to another, recognizing his own features in each, mixed with Elena's. "All right," he finally said, his voice more controlled. "Let's go to the coffee shop. But, Elena, this time I want the whole truth, no excuses, no omissions. You owe me that." The group headed towards the escalators, with Mauricio following them as if in a dream. His mind was a whirlwind of questions, but one thing was clear. His life had just changed forever. "The boys are just back from Buenos Aires," Elena explained as they ascended. "They won the youth swimming championship." "Like me at their age," Mauricio murmured, remembering his own competition days. "Yes," Elena replied softly. "Exactly like you." The airport coffee shop was almost empty. Elena and Mauricio sat at a secluded table while the boys occupied another nearby, pretending not to listen. "A black coffee," Mauricio ordered the waitress. "No sugar." "You still take it the same way," Elena observed, ordering chamomile tea. "Some things don't change," he replied dryly. "Though others change too much." Elena looked towards the table where her sons pretended to be absorbed in their phones. "It was in August," she began. "2 weeks after we broke up. When I found out I was pregnant, you had just gotten your first investor. The day I signed with Roberto Mendez," Mauricio recalled. "You told me you were happy for me. I was. That's why I couldn't tell you. That night, at the celebration, I heard you talking with Carlos. Carlos. That your life was taking shape. That nothing was going to stop you. That you didn't want any distractions, any commitments." Mauricio closed his eyes, remembering that conversation. "I was a stupid 20-something punk." "You were a name with a dream," Elena corrected. "And I also had mine. I wanted to be a doctor, remember? And you did it. I saw your name in medical articles. Yes, I did it. With 4 babies and my parents' support, but I did it." The boys at the next table shifted restlessly. "Why now, Elena? Why did you let me see them now?" "It wasn't planned. I never thought you'd be at the airport today. Destiny has a twisted sense of humor," Mauricio murmured, looking at the boys. They're identical to me at their age. Except Joaquin. He has your face, but my calm demeanor. Mateo is the natural leader like you, Lucas is the artist, and Daniel, well, Daniel is already planning his first company. Mauricio smiled slightly. The first smile since the encounter. Do they know about me? Have you told them about their father? They know everything. That we were university sweethearts, that you were brilliant, that you had big dreams. I showed them your photos. And when your company grew, we became Google experts. Mateo interrupted from the other table, earning a reproachful look from his mother. Internet, Daniel added, social media, interviews. We know everything about Andrade Tech. Mauricio looked at his untouched coffee, processing the information. 15 years, he repeated. I missed their first steps, their first words. And we missed your hugs, Lucas said, joining the conversation. But we're here now, aren't we? Elena took out her phone and showed a photo. 4 identical babies in an incubator. They were born prematurely, she explained. 7 months. I spent 2 months living in the hospital. Mauricio took the phone with trembling hands. You should have told me, he whispered. No matter how much of an idiot I was then, you should have told me. I know, Elena admitted. And I'm sorry, but we can't change the past. No, Mauricio said, looking at his sons. But we can do something with the present. So you're a multimillionaire? Daniel asked bluntly, earning an elbow nudge from Joaquin. Daniel, please, Elena intervened. But Mauricio raised a hand. It's okay. Yes, the company is doing well. But I'm more interested in hearing about you guys. The 4 brothers had finally approached their parents' table. The waitress had to bring additional chairs. We won gold in relays. Mateo, the most outgoing, explained. And I got silver in the 100-meter freestyle. Like their father in the 99 nationals, Elena murmured. You competed? Lucas asked, leaning forward. It was my life before technology, Mauricio replied. I have the medals stored somewhere. Mom has an album with newspaper clippings, Joaquin said. From your competitions. Mauricio looked at Elena, surprised. I wanted them to know that part of you, she explained. Not just the businessman from the magazines. And what else do you do, besides swimming? Mauricio asked. Daniel is the brain, Lucas said. He's already programmed 3 apps. They're not a big deal, Daniel defended himself, though his smile betrayed his pride. Lucas paints, Mateo added. He's really good. Mom says he got the talent from Grandma, Joaquin commented. Your mother still paints? Mauricio asked Elena. She passed away 3 years ago, she replied softly. I'm sorry, Mauricio said. She was a great woman. An awkward silence fell over the table. And you, Joaquin? What do you like to do? Music, he replied. I play the piano and compose a little. He's the sensitive artist, Mateo teased, receiving another warning glance from his mother. And do you have girlfriends? Mauricio asked, trying to lighten the mood. All 4 blushed simultaneously, making Elena laugh. Mateo has an admirer on the swim team, Lucas blurted out. Shut up, Mateo protested, but he was smiling. You're too young, Elena intervened. At their age, I was already crazy about their mother, Mauricio said without thinking. The comment caused another awkward silence. Can we see your company someday? Daniel asked, changing the subject. Mauricio looked at Elena for approval. If their mother agrees, we could arrange it, Elena conceded. But first we need to establish some rules. Of course, Mauricio nodded. Everything in its own time. It's weird, Lucas suddenly said. Our whole lives imagining this moment. And now it's like looking in a mirror that reflects 4 images of you. 5, Joaquin corrected. Counting you. The waitress approached to ask if they wanted anything else. We have to go, Elena said, looking at her watch. The boys have school tomorrow. Can we exchange numbers? Mateo asked. Mauricio looked at Elena, who nodded slightly. With one condition, she said. No social media for now. We need to handle this calmly. The five nodded, though it was clear the boys were disappointed. I promise we'll see each other soon, Mauricio said, pulling out his card. Very soon. What kind of rules do you think Elena will set? And how will Mauricio navigate this new, incredibly complex family dynamic? Let me know in the comments. Building bridges. The next day dawned cloudy in Santiago. Mauricio hadn't slept. Sitting in his 20th floor office, overlooking the Mapocho River, he reread the messages he had exchanged with his sons the night before. Mr. Andrade? His secretary interrupted. Mrs. Valverde is here. Elena entered, as elegant as ever, her doctor's coat beneath her overcoat. Thanks for coming, Mauricio said, gesturing to an armchair. The boys won't stop talking about you, she began, sitting down. Especially Daniel. He's already researched the entire history of Andrade Tech. They're brilliant, Mauricio replied. Like their mother. Mauricio, we need to talk about how we're going to handle this. You mean the press? I've already taken care of it. My communications team. No, Elena interrupted. I mean us, the boys, everything. Mauricio stood up and walked to the window. I want to be part of their lives, Elena. I know, and they have a right to know you, but we need to take it slow. Slower? I've already lost 15 years. Precisely. They are sensitive teenagers, Mauricio. We can't disrupt their routine suddenly. Mauricio turned to her. What do you propose? Let's start with a weekly dinner at home, where they feel safe, and the rest of the week. They can text, call, but they need time to process everything. Legally, Elena sighed. I've already spoken with my lawyer. We can do the recognition whenever you want. I want to do it now, Mauricio said firmly. We also need to discuss the financial aspect. Elena, please, you know money doesn't. Precisely why, she interrupted. I don't want them to think this is about money. They've lived well until now, but they have a right to know their father, Elena completed. The rest can wait. Mauricio sat back down. Why did you bring them to the airport yesterday? They were coming from the championship in Buenos Aires. I didn't know you'd be there. Destiny, I suppose, Mauricio murmured. Or maybe it was just time, Elena replied softly. Dinners on Sundays then? At 7. Do they like pasta? Like me, Mauricio smiled. Mauricio, Elena hesitated. There's something else you should know. What? I was offered a position in Barcelona, head of the pediatric department. Silence fell heavily between them. When? In 3 months. Elena, I haven't accepted yet, she clarified. But it's a unique opportunity. And the boys. That's why I'm here. We need to find a solution. Mauricio rubbed his temples. I just found them. I know. That's why we need to talk about it. Do they know? Not yet. I wanted to discuss it with you first. Sunday at 7 then? Mauricio asked after a long silence. Sunday at 7, Elena confirmed, standing up. I'll tell them you're coming. Elena, he called as she reached the door. Thank you for coming. She nodded and left, leaving Mauricio alone with his thoughts and a view of Santiago that no longer seemed so important. How will the boys react to the news about Barcelona? And what solution will Mauricio and Elena find? Share your thoughts below. First family dinner. Does your office take up this entire floor? Daniel asked the following Sunday, glued to the window in Mauricio's apartment. Only half, Mauricio replied as he served refreshments. Want to see it? Can we go now? Mateo jumped. It's Sunday, Elena reminded them from the kitchen, where she was helping prepare pasta. Besides, we eat first. The 5 men moved awkwardly in the kitchen, bumping into each other as they tried to help. Why don't we sit down? Joaquin suggested. There are too many of us in here. You inherited your mother's common sense, Mauricio smiled. At the table, the silence grew awkward. Why did you never look for us? Lucas suddenly asked. You must have suspected. Lucas, Elena warned. No, it's okay, Mauricio intervened. They have the right to ask. He put down his cutlery and looked at his sons. The truth is, I was a coward. When your mother and I broke up, I buried myself in work. I didn't want to think about her, or what I had lost. Did you love her? Matteo asked. Elena visibly tensed. Yes, Mauricio replied simply. But I was young and stupid. I believed success was more important than anything. And now, Daniel pressed. Now I know I was wrong. That I lost the most valuable thing by chasing something that, in the end, means nothing compared to this. But you're a millionaire, Daniel insisted. Daniel, Elena scolded. And I would give all the money to get these 15 years back, Mauricio replied. To have watched you grow up. We have videos, Joaquin offered softly, from when we were babies. I'd like to see them, Mauricio said, his voice cracking. Why didn't you tell us, Mom? Lucas asked. Because I was scared, Elena admitted. Scared of them getting hurt, of them being rejected, of me taking them away, Mauricio completed. Is that it? Elena nodded slightly. But you never would have, would you? Joaquin asked. Never, Mauricio confirmed. Even if you had known, I would never have kept you from them, Elena. I know that now, she said softly. But back then we were different people, he completed. And now what? Matteo asked. How does this work? Now, Mauricio said. We try to make up for lost time if you want to. The four brothers looked at each other. We do, Lucas replied for everyone. But there's something else you need to know, Elena said, looking meaningfully at Mauricio. It was time to talk about Barcelona. Barcelona. Matteo's voice resonated in the dining room. Are we going to Barcelona? The plate of pasta was forgotten as the four brothers looked at their mother with expressions ranging from surprise to disbelief. It's a unique opportunity, Elena explained. The San Joan de Dieu Hospital. But we just met Dad, Lucas interrupted, looking at Mauricio. That's why we need to discuss it all together, Elena said. As a family. The word family hung in the air, new and strange to everyone. You knew about this? Daniel asked Mauricio. I found out a few days ago, he replied. Your mother and I have been looking for solutions. What kind of solutions? Joaquin asked, always the most pragmatic. Mauricio wiped his mouth with his napkin, buying time. Andrade Tech has expansion plans in Europe, he began. Barcelona could be a good headquarters. Would you come with us? Lucas's eyes lit up. Not exactly, Elena intervened. But he could visit regularly. And you could come to Chile for holidays, Mauricio added. What about the swim team? Matteo asked. The Club Natació Barcelona is one of the best in Europe, Mauricio replied. I've already looked into it. And our friends. Lucas's voice sounded small. There's the internet, you know? Daniel joked, though his smile didn't reach his eyes. You don't have to decide now, Elena said. We have time. How much time? Joaquin asked. 3 months, Mauricio replied. The four brothers looked at each other again, communicating in silence as only quadruplets could. What if we don't want to go? Matteo finally asked. Then we won't go, Elena replied firmly. This is a family decision. But it's your dream, Mom, Joaquin said. You've always wanted to head a pediatric department. Elena looked at her sons with pride and love. My dreams changed 15 years ago when you were born, and mine changed a week ago, Mauricio added. When I met you all. Can we think about it? Lucas asked. Of course, both parents replied in unison. And in the meantime? Daniel asked. In the meantime, Mauricio said, we could start with that tour of my office tomorrow after school if your mother agrees. Elena nodded. And next weekend, Mauricio continued, we could go to the beach house in Vienna. You have a beach house? Daniel's eyes widened. Daniel, Elena warned. With a pool, Mauricio added, winking. For the first time that night, the four brothers genuinely smiled. Can we bring our swimsuits? Matteo asked. We'll see, Elena replied, but her smile suggested the answer would be yes. The conversation drifted to lighter topics, and little by little the tension dissipated. It wasn't perfect, but it was a beginning. What do you think? Is this new family ready for a move to Barcelona? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Confirming connections. Are you sure about this? Elena asked as they waited in the clinic. Mauricio nodded, looking at the DNA test form in his hands. The four boys were sitting on the other side of the waiting room, whispering amongst themselves. It's a legal requirement, he responded. For the recognition. You know they're your sons. I know, but I want to do things right this time. The nurse called Mateo first. One by one, the brothers went in for sample collection. Does it hurt? Lucas, the last to go in, asked. Just a little, Joaquin replied, rubbing his arm. Like a mosquito bite. When it was Mauricio's turn, he paused at the door. Elena, he called. Thank you. For what? For raising them so well. In the lab, as the nurse prepared the needle, Mauricio remembered the first time he saw Elena in college. 15 years later, his decisions had brought him here. The results will be in a week, the nurse informed them. Upon leaving, he found his sons arguing about where to have lunch. Pizza, Daniel suggested. We had pizza yesterday, Lucas protested. Sushi, Mauricio proposed. Four identical pairs of eyes looked at him with interest. We've never tried sushi, Mateo admitted. Really? Mauricio looked at Elena, surprised. They're a bit traditional with food, she explained. There's a good Japanese restaurant nearby, Mauricio said. If you want to try it. The boys looked at their mother. All right, Elena conceded. But nothing raw. At the restaurant, Mauricio taught them how to use chopsticks amidst laughter and failed attempts. How did you learn to use chopsticks? Joaquin asked. Business trips, mostly Tokyo. Have you traveled a lot? Daniel dropped a roll onto his plate. Quite a bit, but I've never been to Barcelona, he added, looking meaningfully at Elena. Would you take us on a trip? Lucas asked. If your mother agrees. First, let's see how everything goes, Elena intervened. Step by step. Like how to use these chopsticks? Mateo joked as his roll fell into the sauce again. The meal continued with questions about Mauricio's travels and tentative plans for the future. Next week, Mauricio said as he asked for the bill. When we have the results, we could celebrate. We already know you're our father, Joaquin said softly. I know, Mauricio replied. But I want to make everything official for you. Leaving the restaurant, the boys walked ahead, still arguing about the sushi. They're so much like you, Elena murmured. But they have your heart, Mauricio replied. And that's worth more than any physical resemblance. Andrade Tech meets the quads. And what does this do? Daniel asked, leaning over Mauricio's desk at Andrade Tech. It's a virtual reality prototype, Mauricio explained, for educational video games. The four brothers were scattered around the office, fascinated by the technology surrounding them. It was their first official visit to their father's company. Can we try it? Mateo already had the glasses in his hands. Sure, but this is incredible, Mateo exclaimed, spinning around with the glasses on. Be careful with. Mauricio didn't finish the sentence when Mateo tripped over a chair. I'm fine, he laughed, getting up. Who's next? The newspapers talk about your company all the time, Lucas commented, flipping through magazines on a table. They say you revolutionized technology in Latin America. Those are exaggerations, Mauricio replied. We just try to make useful things. Like what? Joaquin asked, the only one who remained seated quietly. Like educational software for rural schools, or telemedicine systems for remote areas. Mom uses one of your systems at the hospital, Daniel said, though she didn't know it was yours. We developed it 2 years ago, Mauricio explained, for remote pediatric consultations. Is that how you knew Mom at the hospital? Joaquin asked. Mauricio tensed slightly. No, we never saw each other. The system was implemented through the ministry. And now you'll be working from Barcelona? Joaquin insisted. It's a possibility, Mauricio replied cautiously. But there's still much to discuss. Mom says we could come to Chile for holidays, Lucas commented. And I could go to Barcelona regularly, Mauricio added. For business and for you. Daniel is already learning Catalan. Mateo laughed, finally taking off the glasses. Really? Mauricio looked at his son with surprise. Just the basics, Daniel murmured, blushing. Just in case. Good thinking, Mauricio said with a smile. I'm also studying. Really? Daniel's eyes lit up. How are you? Mauricio continued. Molt bé, thanks, Daniel replied proudly. Great. Now there are two nerds, Mateo joked. Hey! Father and son protested in unison, making everyone laugh. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Andrade, your 4 o'clock meeting. Cancel it, Mauricio replied without hesitation. I'm with my sons. The 4 boys looked at him, surprised. Isn't it important? Joaquin asked. Not as important as this, Mauricio replied. Who wants to see the development lab? Me. Daniel jumped. Nerd. Mateo coughed, earning a friendly shove from his brother. As they walked towards the lab, Mauricio noticed how his sons moved in perfect synchronicity, as if they were one person divided into 4. And for the first time in years, he felt his priorities were finally in order. What do you think about Mauricio's change in priorities? Do you believe he's truly putting his family first? Let me know in the comments. A swim and a confession. Why don't you come to my competition on Saturday? Mateo asked, stirring his ice cream at the soda fountain near the school. It was Thursday afternoon, and Mauricio had started a tradition of picking up one of his sons each day to spend one-on-one time. Today was Mateo's turn. Is your mother okay with it? It was her idea, Mateo smiled. She said you should see us swim. Will all 4 of you compete? Only me and Lucas. Daniel has a programming project, and Joaquin has a piano recital. Mauricio smiled. Despite their physical resemblance, each of his sons was unique. How long have you been swimming competitively? Since I was 6. Mom says as soon as she put us in the pool, it was like we were born in the water. Like me at your age, Mauricio murmured. Why did you stop competing? Mauricio looked thoughtful for a moment. I thought I had to choose between swimming and business. Another stupid decision from my youth. Do you regret it? That and many other things, he replied honestly. Mainly not having been there for you. It wasn't your fault, Mateo said. You didn't know. I should have looked for your mother. I should have tried harder. But then you wouldn't be who you are now, Mateo reflected. And maybe you wouldn't be able to help us like you do. Help you? Yes, with Barcelona. Mom would never have been able to accept that job if it weren't for you. Mauricio looked at his son with surprise. Sometimes he forgot that, despite their youth, the boys understood more than they let on. Do you want to go to Barcelona? Mateo played with his spoon before answering. I want Mom to be happy. She deserves it after everything she's done for us. Your mother is a great woman. The best? Mateo smiled. Though sometimes she's too protective. She just wants the best for you. I know. That's why I think we should go. Besides, Mateo hesitated for a moment. We could get to know each other better. As a family. Mauricio felt a lump in his throat. I'd like that, he managed to say. So you'll come on Saturday? I wouldn't miss it for anything. Front row. Front row. Mateo smiled. And for a moment Mauricio saw in him the child he couldn't see grow up. And afterwards, could we all go out to eat? Mateo suggested. You want, of course, sushi again? Yes. But don't tell Mom I had ice cream before the competition. It'll be our secret, Mauricio winked. The first of many, I hope. A family cooks together. The sauce is burning, Elena shouted from the kitchen. Mauricio's apartment had become their Sunday gathering spot. This time they had decided to cook all together. Daniel, put that phone down and come help, Lucas ordered as he awkwardly chopped vegetables. I'm documenting the moment, Daniel defended himself, recording with his phone. For posterity. For your YouTube channel, you mean? Joaquin corrected, who was kneading homemade pasta with Mauricio. You have a channel? Mauricio asked, surprised. About technology and programming, Daniel explained. Though now I'm thinking of making one about our family. Don't even think about it, Elena warned. No public exposure for now. But Mom, your mother is right, Mauricio intervened. We need to keep a low profile, especially with Barcelona approaching. The mention of Barcelona no longer created the tense silence of the first few weeks. It was 1 month until the move, and preparations were underway. Have you found an office there yet? Joaquin asked. I have 3 options, Mauricio replied. Near the Sagrada Familia. Where will we live? Lucas put down the vegetables to join the conversation. In Pedralbes, Elena replied. Near the hospital and their new school. And you? Mateo asked Mauricio. I found an apartment in Leak Sample, 15 minutes from you. Can we stay with you some weekends? Daniel ventured. Elena and Mauricio exchanged glances. If their mother agrees, we'll talk about it, Elena replied, but her tone was softer than before. The sauce, Lucas suddenly remembered. Amidst laughter and small disasters, dinner was finally ready. The table, a bit small for 6 people, forced them to be close, shoulder to shoulder. This is better than the Italian restaurant, Mateo declared with his mouth full. Mateo manners, Elena automatically scolded. Sorry, he murmured, though still smiling. Remember when we cooked in college? Mauricio asked Elena. You mean when you almost set your apartment on fire trying to make pasta? The boys laughed. Seriously? Lucas asked. Your father thought pasta cooked without water, Elena explained. I was 20. Mauricio defended himself. And apparently couldn't read instructions, Elena added. The meal continued with anecdotes and laughter, growing more natural, more familial. They were no longer 2 separate groups trying to connect. They were a family, imperfect but real, finding their own rhythm. Dessert, Mauricio asked when they finished. Ice cream, the 4 brothers chorused. With chocolate, Mateo added. And cream, Lucas completed. Elena sighed, but she was smiling. All right, but double training tomorrow to make up for it. The boys protested, but their smiles betrayed them. This was their new normal and they liked it. What are your thoughts on their new family dynamic? Are they really ready for Barcelona? Let me know in the comments. Voiceover. Scene 8, Barcelona bound. The MRI results are normal, Elena explained to the parents of the small patient in her office. It was her last case of the day, and her mind was already drifting to the meeting she would have in an hour. After dismissing the family, she stared at the envelope on her desk. The formal offer from Hospital Saint-Jean-de-Dieu, with all the details of the head of pediatrics position. Her phone vibrated. A message from Mauricio. I'm in the parking lot. Ready. They had agreed to meet with the boys' school principal to discuss their transfer to Barcelona. Be down in 5 minutes, she replied. In the car, Mauricio noticed the envelope in her hands. Is that the official offer? Yes, it arrived this morning. And the salary is better than I expected. And the research budget? I'm not talking about that, Mauricio interrupted softly. How do you feel? Elena sighed. Scared, excited, guilty. Guilty. For taking the boys away from everything they know. From you, just when. Elena. Mauricio stopped the car at a traffic light and looked at her. You're not taking anyone away. We're finding a solution together. What if it doesn't work? The job. Everything. The boys. The move. The arrangements. It will work, Mauricio affirmed. Because this time we're thinking about them first. They arrived at the school where the principal was waiting for them. The meeting was simpler than they anticipated. Your sons are excellent students, the principal commented. And the Lycée Français de Barcelona has an excellent program. Will they be able to adapt mid-year? Elena asked. With their grades and English level, I see no problems. Besides, Daniel already speaks Catalan, right? How did you know? Mauricio asked. I heard him practicing in the library, the principal smiled. He's a very dedicated boy. Leaving the school, Elena stopped. I need to sign the offer today, she said. The hospital needs an answer. What does your heart say? What's the right thing to do? For me, professionally. But the boys are stronger and more adaptable than you think, Mauricio said. And they have both of us now. Elena pulled a pen from her purse, and with slightly trembling hands, signed the contract. Barcelona, she murmured. Barcelona, Mauricio confirmed. New chapter. Shall we have dinner with the boys? To give them the official news. Pizza, pizza, Elena smiled. Some things never change, but others change for the better, Mauricio replied, starting the car. Pizza again? Joaquin asked when everyone gathered at Mauricio's apartment that night. It's a special occasion, Elena explained, placing the hospital envelope on the table. The four brothers looked at each other, understanding immediately. You signed it? Daniel asked, leaning in to see the document. Today, Elena confirmed. I start in a month. A silence fell as the reality of the situation finally settled in. What about school? Lucas asked. We already spoke with the principal, Mauricio said. The French lycée will accept them midterm. And the swim team? This time it was Mateo. The Club Natació Barcelona already has their records, Mauricio replied. They can train as soon as we arrive. And the conservatory? Joaquin's voice was barely audible. There's an excellent one near home, Elena smiled softly. I already sent your recordings. You have it all planned, Daniel observed. We tried to think of everything, Mauricio admitted. But we need to know how you feel. The four brothers exchanged glances again. I want to go, Daniel finally said. The technology in Barcelona. Of course you want to go, nerd, Mateo joked, but without malice. I want to too. The Club Natació is incredible. If they go, I go, Lucas added. Besides, the art in Europe? Everyone looked at Joaquin, who remained silent. Joaquin, Elena asked softly. Do you promise we'll still be a family? He finally asked. That this won't separate us? I promise, Mauricio replied immediately. On my life, Elena added. Joaquin nodded slowly. Then I want to go too. The tension in the room visibly dissipated. Good, Elena smiled, her eyes shining. Because I already bought the tickets. When? The four asked in unison. In 3 weeks, Mauricio replied. Right after your national competition. And the apartment is ready, Elena added. With a piano included. A real piano? Joaquin's eyes lit up. A Steinway, Mauricio confirmed. It'll arrive next week. You bought a piano? Elena asked, surprised. It's a welcome gift, Mauricio explained. For everyone. Show off, Elena murmured, but she was smiling. Can we eat now? Mateo interrupted. The pizza's getting cold. Amidst laughter and plans for the future, the family shared their last Chilean pizza, knowing it was just the beginning of a new adventure. New chapter, new home. Are you sure you packed everything? Elena asked for the umpteenth time, checking the suitcases in the living room. The apartment looked strangely empty. The boxes with their belongings had shipped a week earlier by boat to Barcelona. Mom, we checked 3 times, Lucas replied, sitting on his suitcase to close it. The passports, Elena began. In your bag, the four brothers chorused. The visas, Daniel added, and the school documents, medical certificates, and even our vaccination cards. The doorbell rang. It was Mauricio. Ready? He asked, entering the apartment. I think so, Elena replied, looking around one last time. The taxi's waiting downstairs, Mauricio said. Need help with the suitcases? I'll take mine. Mateo hurried, dragging his luggage towards the door. Be careful with... Elena didn't finish the sentence when Mateo's suitcase hit the wall, leaving a mark. Oops. Mateo smiled nervously. That's why I sold the furniture, Elena sighed. One by one, they went down to the taxi. The driver had to call a second vehicle upon seeing the amount of luggage. Are you sure you don't want me to accompany them to the airport? Asked the neighbor from 4B, who had come out to see them off. Thanks, Mrs. Martinez. But we have everything arranged, Elena replied. In the first taxi were Elena, Joaquin, and Lucas. In the second, Mauricio with Mateo and Daniel. Nervous? Mauricio asked during the ride. A little, Daniel admitted, but excited. What about you, Dad? Mateo asked. The word dad still sounded new on his lips. Nervous too, Mauricio confessed. It's a big change for everyone. But you'll be there, right? Mateo insisted. Every 2 weeks, as I promised. And you can come to Chile for holidays. At the airport, the check-in process was surprisingly smooth. Mauricio accompanied them to the security area. Well, he began, but was interrupted by 4 simultaneous hugs. We'll see you in 2 weeks, Lucas said. Take care of our country, Daniel joked. And bring alfajors when you come, Mateo added. I love you all, Mauricio said, his voice breaking. All 5 of them, including Elena, who had maintained her composure until then, allowed themselves to shed some tears. See you soon, she whispered. She watched them walk away towards immigration, the 4 brothers protectively surrounding their mother, occasionally turning to wave goodbye. Mauricio stood there until he lost sight of them, thinking about how much his life had changed in such a short time. His family was leaving for Barcelona, but this time it wasn't goodbye. It was a see you soon. Settling in. It was their first night in Barcelona. The new apartment in Pedralbes, with its white walls and large windows overlooking the city, felt strangely silent, despite being occupied by 5 people. Can't you sleep? Elena asked, finding her 4 sons in the kitchen at midnight. Jet lag, Daniel explained, though they all knew it wasn't just that. Hot chocolate, Elena offered, taking out a pot. Like when we were little, Joaquin smiled. When we had nightmares, Lucas added. Or when we missed Dad without even knowing him, Mateo murmured. Elena stopped what she was doing. I'm sorry, she said softly. For everything. Mom, Joaquin began. No, I need to say it, Elena interrupted. I denied you your father for 15 years. Out of fear, out of pride. You gave us everything we needed, Lucas said. But I took something important from you, Elena insisted. The right to know your father. And now we have him, Daniel replied. That's what matters. Do you miss him? Elena asked. All 4 nodded. It's weird, Mateo said. 2 months ago we didn't even know him. And now he's part of us, Joaquin completed. Daniel's phone vibrated. A message from Mauricio. He says he just saw our plane land on flight radar. He smiled. And that he hopes we're asleep. Typical him, Elena laughed. Always keeping an eye on everything. Like you, Lucas observed. Elena poured the chocolate into 5 cups. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked. Coming here. It's your dream, Mom, Joaquin replied. My dreams changed when you were born. But we want you to be happy, Mateo said. Besides, Daniel added, Dad will be here in 2 weeks. And in the meantime we have video calls, Lucas completed. Elena looked at her sons, amazed by their maturity. When did you grow up so much? While you were busy being the best mom in the world, Joaquin replied. The phone vibrated again. This time it was a photo. Mauricio in his office in Santiago, with the sunrise in the background. He says he's already planning the projects for the office here, Daniel read. Typical workaholic, Elena murmured. Like someone I know, Mateo teased, looking meaningfully at her. Elena smiled, recognizing the truth in those words. Perhaps that's why they had fallen in love so long ago. They were too alike. Time for bed, she finally said. We have to unpack tomorrow. The boys got up, taking their cups to the sink. Mom, Lucas called before leaving. Yes, thank you for everything. Elena watched them disappear into their rooms, thinking about how much life had changed. The weight of the past was still there, but every day it became lighter. Crisis and trust. What do you mean you can't come? Daniel's voice sounded disappointed on the video call. Mauricio rubbed his eyes, exhausted. It was his third sleepless night due to a company crisis. I'm sorry, son. There was a problem with the main servers and... But you promised, Mateo interrupted, appearing on the screen. It's our first competition in Barcelona. I know, and I feel terrible, but... Let him explain, Joaquin intervened, always the mediator. Elena watched from the background, her expression unreadable. We had a cyber attack, Mauricio explained. Thousands of clients' data are at risk. I can't leave Santiago until this is resolved. Can't others solve it? Lucas asked. You have hundreds of employees. I'm the CEO. The ultimate responsibility is mine. You're also our father, Mateo murmured, moving away from the screen. The silence that followed was painful. Mauricio, Elena called, approaching the camera. How serious is it? We could lose millions. Years of work. And there's no other solution. Mauricio hesitated. Maybe I could send Carlos to supervise and... Uncle Carlos? Daniel's eyes lit up. Your partner. Yes, but... Trust your team, Elena said softly. Like you trust us? Mauricio looked at his family through the screen. The hopeful faces of his sons. Elena's understanding expression. You're right, he finally said. I'll call Carlos. So you're coming? Mateo asked, returning to the screen. My flight leaves first thing tomorrow morning. His son's smiles lit up the screen. You'd better, Lucas joked. Because Mateo might win his first medal here. Not if you keep distracting me in training, Mateo replied, nudging his brother. Boys, Elena warned, but she was smiling. I'll see you tomorrow, Mauricio promised. This time it's for real. After saying goodbye, Mauricio stared at the blank screen. Then he picked up his phone. Carlos, I need a favor. In Barcelona, Elena gathered her sons. See? Sometimes you just have to have a little faith. In Dad? Joaquin asked. In family, she replied. Now go to sleep. There's early training tomorrow. And the day after tomorrow, Dad arrives. Mateo smiled. And this time it will be for real, Daniel added. Elena watched them leave, thinking about how crises sometimes brought the best opportunities. This time, the opportunity to strengthen the bonds they were just building. Triumph in Barcelona. Barcelona airport was bustling with activity when Mauricio crossed the international arrivals gate. This time, four identical figures waited for him alongside Elena. Dad! Mateo shouted, being the first to hug him. You made it! Daniel smiled. I promised, didn't I? Barely, Lucas joked. The competition is in 3 hours. Plenty of time, Mauricio replied. Where's my suitcase? I've got it, Joaquin said, pointing to the luggage he had picked up. Elena watched the scene with a mix of emotions. Everything all right in Santiago? She asked as they walked to the parking lot. Carlos has everything under control, Mauricio replied. I should have trusted him sooner. Sometimes it's hard to let go of control, Elena said meaningfully. Mauricio understood the double meaning. Like when a certain doctor had to accept that her sons needed their father. He smiled. Touché, she replied. In the car, the boys talked all at once. And the coach says the team here is more demanding. You should see the Olympic pool. I already have 3 friends who speak Spanish. The conservatory is amazing. One at a time. Mauricio laughed. Do we have time? Not much, Mateo reminded him. The competition? We'll make it, Elena assured him. Your father can change in the locker rooms. The club Natació Barcelona was impressive. While Mateo and Lucas prepared, Mauricio quickly changed. Front row, Daniel indicated, guiding him to the seats. As promised, Mauricio replied. The competition was intense. Mateo finished second in the 100-meter freestyle, while Lucas achieved a 4th place in butterfly. You were incredible, Mauricio exclaimed, hugging his wet sons. Second place isn't winning, Mateo murmured. It's your first competition here, Elena reminded him. There'll be more. Besides, Mauricio added, I also came in second in my first international competition. Really? Mateo's eyes lit up. In Brazil, 1998. I was so nervous I almost threw up before the race. Dad! The four protested, but they were laughing. Shall we celebrate? Joaquin suggested. Sushi. Daniel proposed. Again. Elena sighed. It's tradition, Lucas declared. Besides, Mauricio added, I have news about the office here. Good news? Elena asked. Very good news, he smiled. But first, let's celebrate our champions. As they walked to the restaurant, Mauricio observed his family. The balance was fragile, but it was getting stronger every day. Like Mateo's second place, not everything had to be perfect to be valuable. 3. A new balance. The Japanese restaurant in Leak Sample was almost empty when they arrived. It was early for dinner by Spanish standards. So, Daniel asked as soon as they sat down. What happened with the office? Daniel, Elena warned. Let your father order first. It's okay, Mauricio smiled. In fact, Daniel is part of the news. Me? Daniel's eyes widened. The new office will be in the technology district, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in an internship this summer. Daniel's eyes grew wider. Seriously? You have the talent, and you're old enough. Mom. Daniel looked at Elena hopefully. If you maintain your grades, I will, I promise. What about us? Mateo asked. The club has a summer program, Mauricio replied. For you and Lucas. What about me? Joaquin's voice was soft. The conservatory offers intensive courses. Mauricio smiled. I already checked. Elena looked at him, surprised. You've been busy? I wanted to work, he replied simply. All of this. The waiter arrived to take their orders. They already knew what each wanted. The office will be ready in a month, Mauricio continued when the waiter left. Just in time for summer. Will you live here? Lucas asked. Part of the time. I'll divide my work between Santiago and Barcelona. What about the company? Elena asked. Carlos will handle operations in Chile. He's already proven he can. Is that why there was a crisis? Joaquin asked perceptively. Mauricio smiled. Let's just say it helped me see things clearly. Is all this for us? Lucas asked. For us, Mauricio corrected. Because we're family. Elena took his hand under the table. Thank you, she whispered. No, he replied. Thank you for giving me a second chance. Can we eat now? Mateo interrupted. I'm starving. Everyone laughed. The emotional moment had passed, but its effect remained. By the way, Mauricio added as the food was served, the piano arrives tomorrow. Joaquin's eyes lit up. The Steinway. There's enough space in your room. Show off, Elena murmured again, but her smile was warm. Dinner continued with plans for the summer and family jokes. The solution wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. And for the first time, everyone felt that it could really work. For unexpected harmony, the Barcelona light filtered differently through the windows. Mauricio noticed it as he had his morning coffee in his new apartment in Leak Sample, checking emails on his laptop. The doorbell rang. It was too early for visitors. Surprise! For voices exclaimed when he opened the door. What are you doing here? Don't you have school? It's Saturday, Dad. Lucas laughed. And Mom's on call, Mateo added. We thought we'd help you unpack, Joaquin explained. And set up your office, Daniel completed, already examining the router. Mauricio let them in, touched by the gesture. Have you had breakfast? We brought croissants, Lucas said, holding up a bag. From the corner bakery. The best in Barcelona, Mateo assured him. They sat in the kitchen, still not fully furnished. Do you like the apartment? Joaquin asked. It's different, Mauricio replied. But I'll get used to it. Like us, Lucas said. Are you having trouble adapting? The four exchanged glances. Catalan is hard, Mateo admitted. Except for the nerd. Lucas added, pointing to Daniel. The food is different, Joaquin continued. And the schedule, Lucas completed. Who eats dinner at 10? But we like it, Daniel assured him. It's exciting. And Mom? Mauricio asked, trying to sound casual. She works a lot, Joaquin replied. But she's happy. We see her smile more, Mateo added. Like before, Lucas completed. Mauricio nodded thoughtfully. Need help with those boxes? Daniel asked, changing the subject. They spent the morning unpacking. Each son had his method. Daniel organized the technology, Lucas decorated, Mateo moved furniture, and Joaquin cataloged everything methodically. It looks like your apartment in Santiago, Lucas observed when they finished. But with a Catalan touch, Joaquin added. Mauricio's phone rang. It was Elena. Are they with you? She asked without greeting. Yes, helping unpack. I should have guessed. Can they stay for lunch? My shift got extended. Of course. Thanks. She paused. Are they okay? They're perfect. We all are. After hanging up, he looked at his sons, each busy with something. Daniel programming the TV, Lucas arranging paintings, Mateo exploring the terrace, Joaquin organizing books. This was their new beginning. Different and unexpected, but perfect in its own way. Pizza for lunch? He suggested. Yes, they replied in unison. Some things, Mauricio thought, would never change, and that was okay. Healing wounds. Are you sure about this? Mauricio asked as they waited in the family therapist's waiting room. The boys need it, Elena replied. We need it. The four brothers were unusually silent, sitting in a row against the wall. Andrade Valverde family, the doctor called. Dr. Roig, a middle-aged woman with a Barcelonan accent. The office was cozy, with sofas arranged in a circle. Tell me, the doctor began. What brings you here? Silence. We want to do things right this time, Elena finally said. We're complicated, Mauricio added. We're all adapting, Joaquin explained. To being a family, Lucas completed. The doctor nodded. Who wants to start? Me. Surprisingly, it was Mateo. Sometimes I'm afraid all this will disappear. What do you mean by all this? Being a normal family. Having Dad close. We're not normal, Daniel interrupted. We never will be. And is that a bad thing? The doctor asked. No, Joaquin replied. But it's different. How do you feel about that difference? I'm angry, Lucas suddenly admitted. Not all the time, but with whom? The doctor gently pressed. Lucas looked at his parents. With both of you. For the lost years. Elena held her breath. Me too, Mateo admitted. And me, Daniel whispered. It's okay to be angry, Dr. Roig said. What else do you feel? Fear, Joaquin said. That Dad will leave again. I won't leave, Mauricio intervened, his voice breaking. You don't know that, Mateo replied. Yes, I do, Mauricio insisted. Because I'm scared too. Scared of losing you again. And you, Elena? The doctor asked. I'm afraid I made the wrong decisions then and now. They weren't wrong, Joaquin said. Just different. The session continued, emotions flowing more freely with each minute. Forgiveness, the doctor concluded, is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But will it come? Lucas asked. It will come, she assured him. It's already coming. They left the consultation feeling lighter, as if they had left part of their burden behind. Ice cream, Mauricio suggested. It's 11 in the morning. Elena protested. It's Saturday. 5 voices replied at once, and for the first time in a long time, they all laughed together genuinely. The wounds were still there, but they were healing. Step by step, day by day. What do you think will be the biggest challenge for the Andrade Valverde family in Barcelona? And what do you hope to see next for them? Share your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe.